I really need to get out of this country.
How will you support yourself?
We're going to release 30 brand new episodes of the show all at once. That'll bring in enough money that I won't have to work again ever.
All right, I'm listening.
I got 30 blockbuster films lined up, all 90 minutes or less. If we both take a month off from work, we can record an episode a day. If we take another month off, you can edit an episode a day.
Keep talking.
Then in 2 months, we drop them all. Our downloads will jump by like 3,000%. Sponsors will be falling all over themselves to throw money at us.
Joe, you magnificent bastard, I'm in. Let's get to... Wait. What?
What?
Did you see the email we just got from Patreon?
No, What the? Do you two podcasting punks think you can walk away from this? We own your asses. You'll be making content for us until you die.
Joe, is Patreon the man?
I'm afraid so, George. I'm afraid so. Welcome to Does This Still Work? The podcast that always asks, does this still work? I'm Joe Dixon.
And I'm George Romacka. And today we're discussing Superfly from 1972. Superfly. And some historical context. First, podcasty stuff. We're excited to announce that we've joined the Creator Accountability Network. CAN is a nonprofit dedicated to reducing harassment and abuse through ethical education and a system of restorative accountability. We joined because we care about the safety and well-being of our community members. If you feel our behavior or content has harmed someone, please report it to CAN, either via the reporting form on their website, creatoraccountabilitynetwork.org, or via their hotline at 617-249-4255. They'll help us make it right and avoid repeating that mistake in the future. CAN also needs volunteers from our communities to help with their work, so if you have skills you think would be helpful, or time and a desire to help, please visit their website to find out how you can volunteer. Most importantly, get the word out to other creators who you think would be interested in getting credentialed. Help us build safer communities together. You can reach us at dtswpod@gmail.com, on Facebook, Letterboxd, and on our YouTube channel. Joe is on Blue Sky at joedixon.bsky.social. Please tell your friends about us, even the ones who want out of the business that you started together, and leave 5-star ratings everywhere. You can pick what we watch and get extra per episode content by funding us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/dtswpod.
Okay, George, take us back to 1972.
And that's the way it was.
Now, for anyone asking, yes, George wasn't born yet, so this should be fascinating. I was around.
Yeah, well, there was plenty of news about cocaine in 1972 in New York. So let's get to it.
Well, I was in New York, and I was alive in 1972, but I can't say it had a lot to do with cocaine. Well, with me being a baby and everything.
Yeah. So, start us off with this headline from the Daily News of New York, New York, Joe.
The bitter truth about sweet cocaine.
Rudy Garcia gets an entire page to dissuade readers from using cocaine, citing that it's not for most people, but rather for swingers, weekend dilettantes, and hookers.
How do they get hookers? Swingers, weekend dilettantes, and hookers.
Mm-hmm. Yet he also interviews users who are secretaries and school teachers.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes a bit more sense, since more people are that than hookers or dilettantes.
Mm-hmm. Ethnically, Rudy identifies the Latin American population as the primary users and distributors, since that's where cocaine comes from, the sap of the coca plant, which is widespread in South America.
Yeah, I mean, I presume even back in 1972, cocaine was mostly used by Latin Americans not as to get high, but as they would eat the leaf to help hunger pains.
Not just that, in like the mountainous regions of South America, where oxygen is a bit more scarce, they would chew on the stems to get a little pep.
Okay.
The upsides of cocaine seem to be a lack of physical addiction and a high that doesn't require needles, as well as opportunities for accessorizing with personal Coke spoons on necklaces or charm bracelets.
I'll have a question about that.
Yeah, well, the people nowadays wearing spoons around their neck or their bracelets tend to be more talking about their spoons and whether or not they have them in terms of energy left after various chronic illnesses take their toll. The downsides are that it can be deadly, especially when used with other substances, either as cutting agents or, other drugs, like you combine cocaine and heroin into a speedball.
Yeah, that's what killed John Belushi. A speedball.
Mm-hmm. It's also on the more expensive side of drugs, costing around $40K per kilo in 1972 dollars, or about $300,000 per kilo today.
That's a lot of kilo.
That is. Actually, no, that's 1 kilo.
Okay, that's a lot of money then.
Yeah, the amount that a kilogram is hasn't changed between 1972 and now.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
But if deadly and expensive aren't enough to dissuade the reader, it's also illegal, which brings us to this next headline, also from the Daily News.
Always good with the Daily News. They know their cocaine. 3 held as feds, locals bust LI cocaine conspiracy.
I couldn't actually care less about the arrest of 3 men looking to wholesale cocaine. What I'm interested in is why the author, or the police department, decided to report the quantity as 10 pounds instead of 4.5 kilos. Who the hell does that? Doesn't everybody know that you measure drugs using the metric system?
Well, maybe he didn't. Maybe this
apparently.
I'm an American, goddammit. We're going to use good old American system.
They do it again later in the article, but with a different literary blunder. Over one period of time, agents made buys from ring members, laying out $20,950 for nearly 5 pounds of the cut and packaged drug. How long exactly is one period of time? The article says that this operation took 6 months. How am I to truly understand how much of it was set up if they leave me with one period of time?
One period of time, sweet Jesus. That's all I'm asking of you.
Oh, I was thinking more Whitney Houston. Give me one period of time. Yep. Maybe that's all the police gave them because the police didn't care anymore because the courts were just letting drug pushers go anyway.
Oh, the good old days.
Yep. Joe, give us this last headline, also from the Daily News.
But of course, drug sleuths cite cases of court laxity.
10 narcotics cops went before the Joint Legislative Committee on Crime and said local judges were letting drug perps off easy or enabling them to jump bail instead of sentencing them stiffly in accordance with the law.
Yeah, to be fair, cops always think judges are too lenient. They think everybody should be locked up.
Yep.
These guys would love today's law enforcement where they just drive around and pit people who may or may not be quote-unquote illegals into fans and drive them away. This is the world they would like.
Yep. Well, they provide example after example of potentially dangerous drug dealers jumping bail, with that being more of a cost of doing business than a leash. Well, we are not as lax today. We've swung hard in the other direction, where now handing a joint to someone at a party may well be enough to fuck your life for good. Well, at least in the places where pot is still illegal. Substitute whatever drug you need for the metaphor to work.
Also, if you are a young person and you give a friend an aspirin in school, and the school has a no drug policy, you could also get in trouble. Even though that is not an illegal substance. How do I know this? Because this is a real story.
Yep. Well, that's fucking depressing. Let's talk about Superfly.
Yes, which is not depressing at all. Okay, George, so let's talk about Superfly. Superfly. Let's get into who directed it. It was directed by Gordon Parks Jr., and I've seen his work in 3 the Hard Way. And it's written by Philip Fenty. And I've seen his work in nothing. You ever heard of 3 the Hard Way, George?
Nope.
That is the movie with Jim Kelly from Enter the Dragon. You've seen him there. It was in other movies. Jim Brown. And, oh my God, who was the third person? Anyway, it was a good movie as I remember as a child. Who was the third person in 3 the Hard Way? It was Jim Brown.
Fred Williamson, Jim Brown, and Jim Kelly were guys kicking ass and trying to beat up drug dealers in their neighborhood or whatever. I forget what the plot was. All I know, I was a kid when I saw it, and I just saw a lot of guys beating up people, and I was very entertained. just listener know, I have nothing in these credits at all. So this is just, it's Joe's show from here to the questions.
And why is that, George?
Because I wasn't born in 1972?
Neither was I.
Well, yes.
Before
I mean, yeah, I wasn't alive in 1972.
All right, let's get into the blurbs. IMDb says, the daily routine of a cocaine dealer priest who wants to score one more super deal and retire.
To be clear, the cocaine dealer's name is Priest. He is not a cocaine dealing priest.
No, he is not. Which is interesting because in my previous incarnation as a podcaster, I did a show that you used to listen to, and we would list some of the crimes people in the clergy would commit. And
the segment was called Arrested Developments.
Yes, very good. And curiously enough, that is one of the crimes priests did not commit. I didn't find any drug dealers, as I remember. Other bad things, but not drug dealing. Okay, YouTube says about this movie, never a dude like this one. He's got a plan to stick it to the man. Charismatic, big-time Harlem cocaine dealer, young blood priest, Ron O'Neal, drives expensive cars, keeps a downtown white woman, and plans one last big score to escape his life of violence. But when corrupt cops working for the mob learn of his plan, they try to make Priest a partner rather than arrest him. Now, can Priest outwit the street, the mob, and the cops to win his freedom?
Yes, he can.
Yes, he can. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. You remember when I had a downtown white woman? Have we all had our downtown white woman? Why is that in there? Why is that here?
I know, that's...
what a also detail.
But also...
Young blood.
Like, Scatter keeps calling him young blood, but I got the impression he meant, like, kid. Like,
yeah, sort of
youngin'. Like a newbie in the drug game because I gave you your start. Like, I didn't realize it was his fucking first name.
It more than likely isn't.
Right, because how much would your mother have to hate you to name you that?
Or maybe she was a vampire.
I mean, she could have called him Tiny Snack then.
Maybe she was a vampire. Maybe this is where Blade originated
got
from.
started, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get into some of the characters we're going to discuss. Priest, which is his name, is not his occupation, is played by Ron O'Neal. And I've seen him in Guyana Tragedy, the story of Jim Jones, as a TV movie.
Was he playing Jim Jones?
No,
because Jim Jones was white, so that would be weird.
White man, yes.
Yeah, never mind.
He recruited a lot of people who were black, but he himself was a white.
Yeah, like his message that he used to recruit people was fairly fucking progressive.
Yeah.
It's just he was psychotic and people followed him to their deaths.
People. I remember years ago someone pointed out, I was listening to this radio program, and he was talking about Jim Jones and some other cult that killed themselves. And he thought it was weird that all the cults that seemed to kill themselves were the ones who were integrated. The more integrated they were, the more likely they would commit mass suicide. Which I don't know if it's true, but it was an interesting observation.
Yep.
Georgia, that's our next character. It's the number one girlfriend. That's the black one. She's not downtown. I guess she's uptown. It is played by Sheila Frazier. And I've seen her in California Suite and 3 the Hard Way.
Well, she's the one that he trusts with the money.
True. And clearly he's going to have a life with her afterwards.
Yeah.
Unlike that white woman. I don't know why I'm saying it that way. It just amuses me. Eddie, that's Priest's partner and Sammy Davis Jr. lookalike, is played by Carl Lee.
Okay, have you seen The Righteous Gemstones?
I have not.
Okay, then this reference will make nothing to you. But he was like the black baby Billy, which you'll have to see The Righteous Gemstones, but like his verbal affect and the way he looked both reminded me of this other white dude from a different thing. It's weird.
What do you mean other white dude? This guy's black.
No, I mean this other dude who happens to be white.
Oh, okay. I don't know that reference, but for Carl Lee, he just, to me, looks like Sammy Davis Jr., which so much so that I'm surprised no one said it in the film, even as a joke, like, hey, Sammy, like, oh, fuck you, man, whatever. Anyway, I saw Carl in The Landlord, which is also an old movie. Our next character that we will discuss at some point is Scatter. He's a supplier and mentor to the priest. And he was played by Julius Harris. And I've seen him in To Sleep with Anger, Looking for Mr. Goodbar, King Kong, the 1976 version, Let's Do It Again, The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, Live and Let Die, and Nothing But a Man. So of everyone here, he says the most credits for me.
and watching the movie, I could have sworn I'd seen him in something. Like, he looked the most familiar.
To you?
Yeah, but I haven't.
I'm surprised you didn't. Live and Let Die is a Bond movie. You didn't see that?
Which Bond?
That is Roger Moore Bond.
Nope. The only Bond movies I've seen are the Pierce Brosnan and Daniel Craig ones.
Okay. All right, next character is Fat Freddy, and he's played by Charles McGregor. And for the podcast, we've seen him in Blazing Saddles.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen him in Across
110th Street. What a banger.
3 the Hard Way. Hey, that movie again. Comeback Charleston Blue, and The French Connection. Cynthia, that's the other girlfriend, the white one, is played by Polly Niles, and this is her only credit. Yep. Although she did go on to sing some hit song or something. And I noticed on IMDb she's apparently retired and she lives in the hills of Philadelphia or somewhere. Or Pennsylvania, I guess I should say. Very happily. Okay. According to IMDb, this is one of the few films with a soundtrack that grows more than the film itself. What do you think of the soundtrack by Curtis Mayfield, George? Did you not pay attention to it?
No. I don't know what this says about me. But it just sounded like one song that the lyrics kept changing to.
Wow. So you don't think the music changed at all? You thought it was the same song all the way through? Oh, wow.
Yeah, but like, because he kept singing, it sounded like the same melody over and over and over again, just with different words. I don't know what that says about me as a musician or a human being.
I suggest you go back and you listen to that soundtrack and you tell me if it sounds the different songs or sound one song, because it's not. How dare you? All right, I thought it was a banger, and God, it made so much money. I think my brothers bought albums.
It was one of the first films where the soundtrack made more than the movie.
Yeah, it was a banger. All right. Again, George, what do you think this film says about Harlem of the 1970s?
I have no fucking idea what this says about Harlem in the 1970s.
Oh,
this barely takes place in Harlem in the 1970s.
What do you mean? It's all...
It's all in Harlem, but there's nothing Harlem about it.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well,
it could have been anywhere in New York City.
I guess. I mean, certainly it's before my time. I currently live in Harlem, listeners, if you don't know. I didn't recognize anything. And people could correct me if you've seen the film recently or you're going to see it. And tell me if you notice anything that still exists in Harlem that they show in the picture, because I did not see anything.
A thought I had was, boy, they still had to use keys to unlock their cars.
Yes, George, that's
like that dated the shit out of the movie.
That's been true for many, 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 many years. People needed keys to get into their cars. I think what it says about it's a postcard, or maybe postcard is the wrong word, but it's a historical artifact, I guess is a better word for the time, the 70s. I mean, they don't make a point of picking up particular places. They're like, hey, this is Sylvia's or something. They show what average people would do in Harlem, just hanging out, walking around, going to buildings, whatever. So, yeah, it's...
beating people up, chasing them through alleyways.
Yes, that too. A lot of alleys. That's the thing always confused about movies, especially ones in New York City. And it's possible that this was true years ago and they just changed. But as I was growing up, I don't remember that many alleys. And if you
they got rid of all the alleys because everybody got scared of them because movies made them all out to be scary.
I guess so.
And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I have no idea if that's true or not.
But we definitely have a lot less alleys than they show in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Why does Priest want out of the business, but Eddie doesn't, do you think?
I think Eddie doesn't because Eddie sees success, and that's all. He doesn't want freedom. He wants to just live large while he can. Priest wants more than that. He doesn't want to be doing this. He doesn't want to be selling drugs. He doesn't want to be working. He wants to be retired as young as he is. He just wants to retire. So he wants fucking out. He wants to do one big score and get the fucking... Like, watching this movie made me want to watch Blow.
Oh, why?
Because cocaine. That's why. Because I think there's a theme in there, too, of let's do the like one last thing or whatever, or like wanting to get out of it at some point. Like, that seems to be the thing with drugs in movies, is you must apparently want out of that game. Nobody wants to just stay in it.
You know, I remember there was a documentary about mobsters and how they changed over the years. And one of the things they pointed out in the film is that the mob, when they would create all these fake businesses to launder money, was used to become legitimate businesses. The idea was never, I'm going to be a lifelong gangster. I want to get out of the business. The idea, I'm doing this criminality, but eventually I will be a legitimate businessman. If nothing else, at least my kids will be.
Yeah.
And then people followed them going up the business and going like, actually, this is great. Why would I want to stop being a mobster? That's all I want to be. Like in Goodfellas, a guy like, hey, I don't want to leave this business. I want to keep doing it. This is fair. Who wants a regular job? So, yeah, there are people like that who really do like, hey, I just want to move on. I don't want this to be my whole life. And other people are like, are you nuts? We make so much money. What else are you going to do? All right, the film makes no issue of priests having two women that I'm sure do not know the other exists. What do you think of Georgia and Cynthia, and what does this film say about gender roles? And does it say anything about the era this picture was made? Actually, I know I put that question to you, but I'm going to actually answer it.
Okay.
It is definitely a pre-feminist movie in the sense that, the feminist movie was around in 1972, but it clearly hadn't broken into movies to be acknowledged. The way they treat women are basically they're either wives or girlfriends, and they have no point in the business. Their thoughts aren't important. And at one point, he even sends a woman to a room, and it's her apartment. And she says, "This is my apartment." He's like, "No, listen to what I say, woman." So it's a misogynist as fuck. It may be an accurate depiction of how it was in 1972, but that doesn't change the fact that it's still misogynist as fuck.
And I just... we have a whole thing going on right now about people with money in their side pieces getting caught out in public. So, like, that's just a thing that people with money do. People in my economic strata try and do things like that, but, you know, without hiding shit. Apparently.
And the two women, Georgia and Cynthia, I mean, they're different. I mean, Cynthia doesn't really try and stop him from being in the business. Georgia says, "Oh, please get out," whatever. But other than that, they really don't have much personalities, and it's all revolved around him.
Yeah.
They don't mention or talk about anything that doesn't involve him. So, yeah, it's. I don't think it's a great depiction. I don't think it says anything about gender roles in the era, but I do think it says something about the filmmakers of the era and their idea of gender roles. So, not good. Is Scatter's death Priest's fault? And
No.
let me set this up for people who either don't remember or it's... Again, yeah, we know the premise of the film is that this cocaine dealer wants out of the business and he's going to come up with his big score, one big final score, then leave. He doesn't have enough cocaine to be able to do this, so that's why he goes to Scatter. Scatter was his original source, the one who got him into the business, and now that he wants out, and Scatter's already retired, which is something else I got to get back to.
Kinda.
Because, yeah, it doesn't quite make sense to me, but he says he's out. He does tell Priest that he's out. But then he goes, "Oh, fine, I'll help you out," and blah, blah, blah. So he brings him back in. But eventually, he winds up getting killed. So was this Priest's fault?
No. He was getting out anyway. He wanted out. He wanted to retire. The cop that was running things didn't want him to retire. He was going to kill him anyway. Like, the cop... I was surprised at how few black people were killed by cops in this movie.
Which brings me to Fat Freddy, actually. Did you find it weird how Fat Freddy dies?
Yeah, that he was not killed by a cop. He was killed by traffic while being chased by cops.
By cops, yeah. They don't shoot him or anything. Not that, I mean, obviously, I don't want that to happen, but it was just weird. Because I've seen the film before, but it's been years. So I thought for sure when he runs away from them, weirdly, not handcuffed. He's supposed to be under arrest. They didn't handcuff him for some reason. So he runs away from them, and this dummy runs into the street and gets himself hit by a car. They do nothing. I mean, they beat him up in the station, but once he's out, by the way, he looks clean. It doesn't look like he was beaten up or anything.
That's a continuity error.
Yeah. He gets hit by the car, and they're like, that's it. He's dead. Oh, they didn't do anything to him to cause his demise. It's like, why was that there? Why do that? It's such a weird thing. They clearly showing the cops as the bad guys, so why not show them as the killers of him?
I don't know, Joe.
That's such a weird... I would love to know why that choice was made. Because it obviously was a choice.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to have...
And nobody gives a shit.
Nobody cares. Not even his wife. We don't see he is.
His wife doesn't go to priest to be like, why is my honey dead? Why is my husband dead?
Why is my husband dead? Yeah.
Like, nothing.
Yeah, it's weird. We see the wife at one point, so we think we'd see her at least one more time, worried about, well, what happened to my husband? But yeah, just nothing. Goes nowhere. While this movie was a box office hit, some black folks thought it glamorized drug dealing, and in fact, organizations like the NAACP tried to boycott the picture. What do you think?
Yeah. Fuck yes, it glamorized drug dealing.
Okay.
Jesus Christ, everything was going great for the drug dealers until they decide not to do that anymore.
I get the argument that the NAACP and other organizations were making at the time. Like, does this really need to be the depiction of black people out there? And I get it. But people like this did exist. I didn't take it as glamorization. I took it the same way Jake LaMotta is shown in Raging Bull. The film neither judges him nor condemns him. It's just like, this is the way it is. I can see where you get the idea was so glamorous because he's rich and he's got all this money. But it's sort of the same thing with war movies, where no matter how hard you try and make a war movie seem unappealing, there's going to be a young person who sees it like, wow, explosions, exciting, this is fun stuff. So some of that's you just, no matter what the filmmaker does, unless he puts a big stamp, this is bad up there, it's still going to go over some people's heads. But I disagree. I don't think it glamorized. I think it just showed the life of this particular person. And some drug dealers are successful and drive expensive cars. That's why people want to go into it. They drive expensive cars and they get women, and yeah, it happens. But the picture shows he's not happy, even though he has it. And Eddie, who has the same thing, we don't see him with any women. We don't even see him particularly enjoying his money. So I don't know. Open to interpretation, I guess. Yeah. Is Superfly glamorizing drug dealing or critiquing the system that leaves it as one of the few options for black men? White man, answer that question.
Right? But I don't think this movie paints drug dealing as one of the few options for black men.
Well, what other options do you see in the picture?
You don't, but you have to know that they exist. Otherwise, every black person is involved in drug dealing. Because that's the only thing you see in the movie. Like, you see that and musician. And wait staff.
And I guess technically chef, because what's his name is Scatter's dressed in his chef outfit. Obviously.
Well, he's a chef.
Yeah, his day job.
Who just also supplies coke.
Can't always count on the souffle to bring in the cash.
Mm-hmm.
How does this film...
You even put it in this question.
What does the film say about capitalism, especially as it relates to black survival and independence, white man? But I already kind of asked you that already.
Well, no, I don't think it says anything about capitalism.
Really?
I don't think it goes that deep. Like, it shows that you got, like, it mentions, I got to keep making money somehow, and I want to just not have to keep doing that. But it doesn't go deeper into that, like, the way that capitalism exploits things or makes every service attached to it worse.
I don't know. I felt the whole thing was a critique of capitalism, that these people couldn't get anything better. They're just basically money runs the world, and you use money to get this and money to get that, and no one's especially happy. Even the people who say they're happy don't seem particularly happy. For me, the most Hollywood part of this movie is Priest hiring 2 white professional hitmen to get him out of his jam. Now, we understand that there is no such thing as a full-time professional hitman, right?
I don't understand that at all. I think there have to be people out there. I think people exist out there whose job, they make money killing people for contracts.
Sure. People are paid to kill other people. There is no such thing as a professional full-time hitman. There are people who have a day job and then they're hired to kill people. But there is no such thing as that's all they do. That's their only job. It's never been shown in history. No one's ever been arrested, and that's their only... Number one, how do they pay on their taxes?
Right. They don't. They live... I don't know. They assume false identity. Like, I think that they exist.
No, I don't. I think you'll find, if you do research, you'll find that there is no such thing as a professional hitman.
Again, the research is only any good if they can find them. If they did exist, if they could find them. What if they exist and they just can't find them?
There's a history of professional hitmen. We would know if the one was making the money just from that. Guys who've hit hits like in the mafia, as they show in this picture, would have other jobs. Because you can't. No one makes money if you're constantly killing people. Killing someone is a last resort. The reason there is violence in mobs and gangs and all this stuff is not because obviously some of them enjoy it, but the majority are doing it just for the money. And if they had alternatives like going to court, that's what they would do. But since they don't have that option, that's why there's violence. That's why they hit the guy over the head, because how else are they going to get the money? They can't take him to court because they're all crooks. So we have to fight it out. But yeah, no one's making any money. Oh, I'm going to pay you to kill this guy. Like, suddenly, I'm not having money come in from that person anymore. That doesn't do you any good.
Well, I don't know. The cops in this movie certainly thought they existed.
Yeah. And that's a Hollywood fiction. That's why I said that's the most Hollywood part of this picture. They also exist in in Breaking Bad. Walter White shakes down this couple who he was in business with, and he tells them, I hired the best hitmen, and they believe him because, people do believe that. But he didn't hire any hitmen. It was like, it's just bullshit. All right. Oh, we got through this pretty quick. Do you think this film works? And by the way, don't forget, it is in the ARC. It's in the that thing we always talk about, the Congressional
National Film Registry?
National Film Registry, thank you.
Okay. I didn't really enjoy this movie.
Okay, why not?
I was expecting to recognize things from it, like that I'd heard elsewhere. Like, I thought that this was more in the culture than it was. At least the culture that I have access to.
You don't think this had any sort of larger cultural impact?
Well, I'm thinking in terms of things like quotes that come up in other contexts.
Okay.
Right? The pacing was like, for an hour and a half movie to still feel like a 3-hour movie is weird. But there were so many long montages and like driving like watching characters go from point A to point B. And like, it was.
Well, the editing's pretty bad. There's a lot of jump cuts, a lot of weird, where someone's supposed to be standing someplace and they're standing in the next place, or when he's having the fights, someone who isn't there suddenly is there. I think the pacing and the editing is not great. So it definitely dates it in that sense. And of course, the technology is dated, but we still have cocaine, we still have drug dealers, so that's not dated. And men do treat women like they're just a side piece and nothing else. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to say it doesn't work. Because I didn't enjoy it. Like, and I know that shouldn't be the criteria, but it's really old, and it felt really old, and it felt unpolished. Like, it didn't feel like it was telling the story well. It told it well enough. I got it, but I feel like it could have told a better story.
What was in it that you found most confusing, white man?
I was sure that the 3 guys that come into the diner or whatever that thing is and like be like, we're trying to make Harlem better. You need to start paying us money. And he's like, go fuck yourselves. I was certain they were going to they were going to come back, right? They were going to come back and shoot him or some shit. Nothing. They just walk off happily wearing their brightly colored jackets.
That is, okay, let me say.
I'm guessing those were like the black Muslims. That was like.
Historically, yeah, there were guys who were in their own way a sort of a gang, but also consider themselves clean up the community, sort of almost in a Black Panther sort of way.
Yeah.
Which they had guns, but they also fed the community. And it is sad, because I think it was an opportunity to give us more about who these guys were. I mean, I understand it's not their movie, but it would have been more interesting if they came back or gave us just more of a, were they really shaking him down to help the community, or were they just themselves criminals? I thought would have been interesting to explore, but we would have got a longer movie, I guess. And clearly the movie wasn't interested. They're just there, and then they're not there. And there's a long scene. I can understand why you think they come back, because there's a long scene where the guy with the beard, those guys are staring daggers at Priest, which seemed like, wow, this is going to be some beef later. Like, you never see him again.
Nope.
And it lingers on that shot for a while. So I'm like, you think for sure you'd see him. So I can understand why you get that impression, because the film definitely gives that. The film's language, because there's certain things.
There's F, not just N.
No, not talking about literal language. I mean film language in the sense that.
But I should mention that there were like F-bombs being thrown from the good guy at the cops. Like,
there's an F slur, and of course, there's all N slurs all through this. Yeah. Also typical of its time, which you could think also dates it, because who wants to hear that? But I think it's an accurate depiction of how people talk to this. It's an accurate depiction of how people talk today. So I'm mixed on it, but I will give it it still works. Basically, I mean, I think it's an interesting film. I would be interested in people like your age or younger who could see it and what they think about it. Like, does it relate to them at all? Can they relate to anything in it? Or is it just like, man, this just makes no sense to me? Because I'm sure once you get past the technology, the basic story is this is a man who's doing this criminal act to make money, which we still have that story. That people can still relate to. We still have those stories, and the guy wants to get out of the business and stuff, so that's not new. Or rather, it was new, I guess, for 1972, but we've done that plenty of times in films and TV. So, but again, I'll give it a... You say it doesn't work, I'll say it does. I'm not right. It still works. All right. What else is coming up?
Next week, we'll be talking about Big Business from 1988. A very different movie, because most movies would be very different movies than this.
I don't know that picture at all. Don't even think I recognize the name. Was that Bette Midler?
I think so.
Oh, then maybe I do know it.
And it's on the list because we're going to have a guest.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, I look forward to that. So I guess that's it for this episode. I'm Joe Dixon. Thanks for listening.
And I'm George Romaka. Thanks for listening indeed, because if a podcast drops and there's nobody around to hear it, it's just another collection of ones and zeros that doesn't matter.
You've been listening to Does This Still Work? Produced by Joe Dixon and George Romaka.
This content is CAN credentialed, which means you can report instances of harassment, abuse, or other harm on their hotline at 617-249-4255 or on their website at creatoraccountabilitynetwork.org.
The hosts can be reached via social media, email, or the contact page at dtswpod.com. Be good to yourself and others, because that still works.
From No Stupid Questions. If I get too old to work and then don't have savings, I'm basically dead, right? From Stupid Questions. If conspiracy theorists really believe that Jews secretly run the world, why don't they just convert so they can get in on it? From Random Questions. What is the name of the last song you found yourself dancing to alone? From No Stupid Questions. Why do we praise veterans automatically without knowing what they actually did? From Stupid Questions. When you put your tongue on a 9-volt battery, what exactly are you tasting? From Random Questions. What's a hill you're willing to die on even though you know it's ridiculous? Bonus random question. What do you think we'll be saying, they just don't make them like they used to, about in the future?